Hey, what's up, guys? This is Rich. I'm here with Charles Onyet.
How's it going?
And we are here to check out Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate for Wii U. You know, this game is coming out in about a month. It's basically an upgraded port of Monster Hunter Tri that was on Wii, and then the Monster Hunter 3G game that came out in Japan. This game will actually also be on 3DS, and you can actually share your saves between the two versions. But we want to just kind of give you a look at the game. We're pretty early on, actually. I've done the prologue, which involves some very menial sort of tasks, running around a bit, and I've done a couple missions so far just sort of towards the core game. I wanted to accept another quest and kind of give you guys an idea of what's going on. So Charles, tell me a little bit about like just the main village. Like what do you do? I know there's a lot of preparation before you go out on a quest or a hunt. So what is involved with the village itself? There
is. So yeah, I mean the hunting structures is sort of you will go after bigger and bigger monsters and try to take them down. And in order to do that, you actually do, as you said, need to do a lot of preparation work in town to make sure that you're equipped properly, because not only do are there different types of monsters, and maybe you want to switch to a different weapon type to attack certain monsters, because the weapons all function very differently. The weapons are essentially like classes. When you equip a weapon, you become that class. It changes your attack set. But you also need to be very conscious of what kind of items you bring out with you, because some environments are warm and some environments are cold. And you need to bring drinks in order to adjust your body temperature while you're out there. You need to bring a lot of health items to sort of keep yourself fighting if you make mistakes. You need to bring whetstones to keep your weapon sharp. And also things like paintballs. So if you and I mean it sounds weird, but like if you look at the zone map for what you're in right now, which is a combat zone, an adventure zone, monsters, the big ones, won't always stay in the same zone. So like they may run from section 4 to section 5, as you saw there.
Right.
And if you paintball them, it'll mark them on your map, so you can actually track them into different areas.
Yeah, and one of the things that you guys aren't seeing, because we're just capturing the sort of main TV and not the gamepad itself, but you constantly on your gamepad have access to a variety of information. You have a full map of sort of the different areas numbered 1 through 12. You can actually tap on that map to get a little closer up look at what's going on in sort of your zone and where you are. Oops, there I'm eating my food and healing when I didn't need to.
Well, and you also have to manage your stamina as well, which sort of governs how many big actions you can take.
And also, for those of you maybe watching who played Monster Hunter a little bit before, a little more familiar with the series, like this is literally my 3rd or 4th time playing, so very early in the game. And
you've actually picked a pretty challenging weapon to use.
Yeah.
Your sword attacks very slowly.
Yeah. So that was good.
the trick with the sword is positioning. It's a battle for positioning, so you really have to be in the right spot and know that you want to hit your enemy before you hit that attack button, because otherwise you leave yourself very vulnerable if you happen to miss.
Yeah.
Monster Hunter, there's like it's almost a battle against the game's animations. And I know, if you're new to Monster Hunter, you just start playing it, you think, oh my god, my character's so slow, he's falling all over the place, he takes forever to do attacks, and that is by design. That is part of the challenge of the game, is watching all of the animation tells and knowing exactly that timing window to hit in order to play most effectively. There's a big learning curve. It's not a simple game. It's a game that takes a certain amount of patience, and you have to learn how to craft appropriate items and things like that. But once you put in enough time to really get used to all the systems, it can be very, very rewarding.
Well, I mean, that's the interesting thing is, there's a lot of sort of subtlety to this game. I mean, I went to the sort of local town shop, and I was like, browsing the items, and I just saw the biggest sword, and sort of typical to sort of, I guess, RPG instincts, I was like, I'm just going to buy the biggest sword I can get. And then of course finding out that this thing is that takes that I hit the button like 2 seconds ago. It takes a little bit of a wind up.
It does.
It's much slower, and when you get into battle against I was trying to fight these little like quick guys down here, and they're not trying to attack me. When things are trying to attack you, it's you got to plan a little bit better than just running out into battle and saying, "Hey, I'm here. I'm going to destroy you all."
You can't just like hit the panic button. And the cool thing about the weapon sets and this is more things you kind of need to look up online more or less. Is just there are combos for each weapon, so there are ideal kind of button tap combinations for each thing, and sometimes you evade. Sometimes, like if you had sword and shield, you can you know, block attacks and things like that. So your ability set really does change up depending on what you decide to equip. And a lot of times in between fights against major monsters, you just want to return to zones over and over again and actually just farm materials and things so that you can build better stuff. I think one of the cool parts about the game for me too is that the armor sets and weapons that you make are basically made from monster parts, and they look like the monsters. So I mean, the game is called Monster Hunter, so you are literally hunting the monsters, taking pieces of them, and then fashioning gear that look like them. So that I think that whole loop is pretty cool, because if you see a really and I mean, all the monster designs are pretty cool, the huge guys. And then once you're actually wearing their armor, you get this really distinct sense that you conquered that creature. You are quite literally wearing its parts as a trophy, and I really like that feeling. That just motivates me more to keep coming back and trying to take care of the creatures. Here you go. So you're taking scales off of the creature, and you can use those later to build things. And that's a lot of the lure of the game, is just that constant upgrade loop of becoming more and more powerful. And it's about, you know, getting better gear, but it's also about refining your skills. So there is certainly a skill to playing the game as well.
There is. Yeah, I mean, what's really interesting to me is, I mean, you guys are probably used to seeing really, really, really big creatures, and early on, they're not around. Like, you really got to work up to those guys.
It doesn't throw you in instantly into a crazy boss fight type of thing. You fight these basic creature types first.
Yeah, and so I mean, like early on, your quests are your quests are. Maybe I shouldn't do that. I should get rid of this guy first. Your quests are simple as like last quest I did was go find some mushrooms. So you're just wandering around the environment. You know, you can fight things a little bit, but you're mostly just scavenging. Kind of, they really walk you through the basics. You know, here's your basic attack buttons. Here's how you go swimming, because water plays a huge role in this game. You know, and then now. I believe I know one of my early quests here. I'm not sure if this is the specific one I'm on. Oh god. I'm not sure if this is the specific one I'm on right now, but you know, one of them is like go hunt these monsters, get some scales from them, bring them back to the village, redeem them, and you know, and then you kind of go through that cycle where you're getting your money, you're getting, you know, then go do your upgrades, you know, improve your armor, your weaponry.
Yeah, and it's a lot into item prep too, to make sure that your health bar is kind of maxed out, and there are much more specialty items you can get, like traps and bombs and things to help you out in a fight, in addition to the weapon that you're using. I'm looking at your screen, your gamepad screen, to see if your weapon sharpness is actually all the way down. Because yeah, on the actual screen you're not seeing any of the UI, but it is all on sitting on the gamepad
so
screen.
that actually is one thing you can do, is you can actually customize the panels. And again, sorry, you can't see this, so I won't stay on this too long. But you're able to actually customize where the panels are on the gamepad. You can actually adjust also where the panel is, you know, positioned not only in the gamepad and what's on the gamepad, but then even I can actually pull that information, the UI, actually back up onto the main TV. We kept it kind of clean for you guys here.
Oh, you can put it back up.
You can pull it up there, yeah, and then the gamepad is much more basic functionality. The thing I would say, and this is only with very limited knowledge of the 3DS game, but this is very much, you know, designed and, you know, ported from, you know, its previous versions. So, I mean, you can tell kind of from the visuals, it definitely is, you know, not built from the ground up for Wii U. It's designed to be... Oh, this guy's totally dead. I'm totally...
Yeah, those guys don't have much of a chance.
I'm like totally prowling on these innocent little guys here. But, yeah, I mean, that's a lot of this game. It's just kind of looking around, you know, I'm going to kill this guy and go get his, you know, harvest his resources and carve him up.
And I mean, what I was talking about with the animations too, Rich, I don't know if you have a potion or something that you could you could eat in your inventory, but it's the animation thing even comes into trying to buy yourself enough time. Okay, so here you're sharpening your sword. You have to wait for that animation to play out. So that's another thing that builds into, hey, there's a giant monster trying to kill me, who really wants to kill me.
Yeah.
You know, can you can you build enough space between you and that monster so that you can go somewhere and have time to actually sharpen your sword to ensure that you're doing maximum damage?
Yeah.
A lot of considerations go into each battle. It's not just go up and spam the boss with a whole bunch of attacks.
Right. There's a lot more strategy and preparation in this game than, say, a typical more like action game. I think people make two mistakes about this series, and one is that maybe it's something more like Pokemon, like it's Capcom's version of Pokemon. And Pokemon definitely has its depths and subtleties, but it's a very different type of game here. I mean, they're really completely unalike. So, yeah, I mean, that's really a basic look. We're actually going to come back with more commentaries in the future. I'm going to get farther in the game and kind of figure out what the hell I'm doing and probably find a sword that actually is better equipped to kill things and more my speed. Yeah.
When's this actually coming out?
So it's mid-March. I believe the date is March 18th. The 3DS and the Wii U versions will be here at the same time. Let me get, what did I get? So yeah, and it'll be out for both. And there's a save system that allows you to get, one save from one game to the other, so you can continue playing, on the go or at home. And
yeah, I'm looking forward to see how this controls on 3DS. To see how that works. Because,
yeah.
I mean, right now you've got the dual thumbsticks to control the camera and everything.
Yeah, and you don't have that on 3DS. Yeah, it's but it's interesting because you were mentioning the controls, and I mean, I am trying to turn as sharply as I can, and my guy is, it's definitely there's definitely a learning curve to sort of movement and combat and just sort of how that functions. So
yeah, it's a unique movement system that is going to feel awkward initially, but once you really get to know how everything works. Nice wyvern egg.
Yeah, so
don't drop it.
Anyway, that's a first look at Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate, and stay tuned to IGN for more.